Hello, and welcome to another episode of Royals Rumble, the best sports debate show. I'm Brandon Verasco, and with me is Daniel Valentino. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about some football, some 3-0 teams. Which one is the best out of those five that are 3-0? We're going to talk about some NBA. Training camp starts soon. What do you expect for the rest of the season? And another legend retires, Paul Pierce. We're going to talk about those legends that have retired. But we're going to get into a more emotional note on baseball today. Miami Marlins defeated the New York Mets 7-3. They rallied around the mound before the game started for Jose Fernandez, who had a tragic death on a boat accident. The first hit for the Miami Marlins, Gordon hits a home run honoring Jose Fernandez, going around the bases as he was crying. So my question to you is, what was your take on that whole game?
It was just very emotional for me. I was watching the debate, though, last night, so I was getting updates on my phone about this, and when I heard about the home run and that he was crying, I had to watch that quickly, and it was just very emotional watching the ceremony and that whole event. The players in the dugout after the home run it seemed like a lot of them were crying also, along with D. Gordon. I know Travis d'Arnaud came out and said that as he saw D. Gordon come around crying, tears were going down his face as well. It was just a very emotional game for the Marlins because all the text messages that have been shown now after this, that he was inviting his teammates out with him and they all said no. It's just very weird and sad what transpired there in Miami.
Yeah, it was a very I think if you didn't cry, you don't have any emotions, because that was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. I've never seen a team come together so much after a loss like that, like a loss of a person like Jose Fernandez. And it was very like inspiring, I would say, that the team just came together and won that game. And D. Gordon, I mean, when he hit that home run, I actually cried. So I'm not going to lie, I cried. But, yeah, it was a very emotional time. And, you know, one thing that I noticed that I actually saw was the place where, like, his boat crashed, there was baseballs that washed up on shore that he signed.
Yeah, in a backpack.
Yep.
That was another tough thing to see.
That's tragic.
After it. Also, it seemed like D. Gordon was taking it the hardest, I think, especially when he came into the stadium on Sunday, because he's the only one I saw that actually went out to the mound, and he just seemed in complete disbelief. It was a very, very sad weekend for the Miami Marlins and Major League Baseball in general with the loss of Jose Fernandez.
He was making, quote-unquote, baseball fun again, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, talking about some football, there are 5 teams that are 3-0 right now. Now, you wouldn't expect any of these teams really to be 3-0, considering the circumstances. The Eagles, Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots, Denver Broncos, and Minnesota Vikings are all 3-0. All of these teams don't have an elite quarterback either. One's a rookie, one never played a game, the backup was a rookie. Baltimore Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco, not the best talent, probably the best quarterback out of these 5 teams. Trevor Siemian, rookie. Sam Bradford, this is his actual first team that he's getting talent around. So my question to you is, out of these 5 teams, which one are you most surprised with?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I'll say Minnesota, just because everyone thought Minnesota was going to fall off the rails with the loss of Teddy Bridgewater, and it's just amazing how well they've played. And I'm loving it. I'm loving how Minnesota's been playing. Stephon Diggs has been having a great season so far, and it seems like he has a great chemistry with Sam Bradford, even though Bradford's only been there for a few weeks. Right. The defense has been phenomenal, and Marcus Shreels in the return game has been fantastic for them.
Right. See, I agree that they're a very surprising team, but I think the most surprising to me is the Philadelphia Eagles. They were expected by most professionals who predicted what place they were going to come in. The Eagles were supposed to come in last place in this division by most people's thoughts. Carson Wentz, first year, so you weren't expecting much from him. You didn't know what you were going to get from the defense. Now, again, they played Cleveland, Chicago, so those teams, they should have won. But at the same time, nobody was thinking that this team would be 2-0 going into the season, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then beating them 34-3.
Yeah, no, that was a very, very surprising game in my opinion as well. I did not expect that to happen, especially with how well Pittsburgh has been playing this year.
And especially how good their offense is, with Ben Roethlisberger throwing to Antonio Brown or Sammy Coates. He always finds receivers that just are amazing. And D'Angelo Williams as well. So it's surprising.
I think the big thing is, though, Le'Veon Bell wasn't playing too.
Right.
So, and he comes back this week, I believe. But also, Antonio Brown still had 140 yards against the Eagles. It's just that they couldn't find the end zone. No. That was their problem.
Yeah, they don't have – I still don't think they have a good kicker either. So I don't think they have too much trust in them. But still, limiting them to 3 points.
Yeah, no, that was big.
That was huge. And the Ravens are going to lose probably the next 4 games. Yeah. Considering they played the Bills, the Browns, and the Jaguars. So their 3-0 season, to me, was kind of flukish almost. The Patriots is a very surprising team as well, considering their quarterback is a third stringer who's a rookie who threw for 100 yards and still won the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very surprising.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go a quick PSA break. Coming up, we're going to talk about some basketball. Stay tuned.
Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can.
So.
And welcome back to Royals Rumble. NBA season is just about to start. Training camp is starting right now. There have been a lot of noise about the NBA. Kevin Durant going to Golden State, Al Horford going to Boston, Dwight Howard going to the Atlanta Hawks, Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo going to Chicago, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah going to the Knicks, etc., etc. So my question to you is, what are your big expectations from one team this year? Do you have a big team that's going to surprise everyone this year?
I think the Knicks are going to do better than everyone expects, just with that lineup. It also depends on what happens with Derrick Rose and his ongoing rape investigation in LA. Yep. So, again, we don't know what's going to happen there. I do love the additions of Joakim Noah, Courtney Lee, and Brandon Jennings, who's a solid number 2 point guard for them.
Yeah.
And Lee is a good replacement for Aaron Aflalo, who I didn't really enjoy too much, even though he was with the Knicks for 1 year. I didn't like that signing in general. But they also brought in some European players. I cannot pronounce their names, so I don't want to butcher them.
Right, of course.
I know one played with Kristaps Porzingis when he played with, was it FC Barcelona?
Yes.
Or not FC Barcelona in general. I'm just used to saying the soccer team name.
Exactly.
But so, I think that's going to help him because they have a little bit of chemistry, most likely, from playing together. And no one really knows what to expect from these Europeans they got.
Yeah. See, my team in the East, I have 2 teams in the East that I think are going to surprise a lot of people, and that is the Indiana Pacers. Now, they have Paul George, obviously. They got rid of George Hill, who wasn't really a great
Yeah.
point guard for them.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
So they got Thaddeus Young, Al Jefferson, and I don't remember who their point guard is right now. Who they got? Jeff Teague. That's who it is.
Yeah,
Jeff Teague.
yeah, they just picked up Jeff Teague.
So who's
And
a
they still
very
have Monte Ellis.
Yep, and still have Monte Ellis and a pretty decent bench, to say the least.
Mhm.
So I think the Pacers can actually surprise people and go second seed. Third seed, I think Boston Celtics will because of the signing of Horford, because Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley, Amir Johnson, they all work together very well. That's what they did last year. They're a very good team. They needed a guy who can score. I think Al Horford can score, and I think he only didn't have as many points per game because he was on the Hawks with 4 other guys who shoot the ball pretty well.
Well,
so
yeah,
it was
no,
a balanced team.
That was a good team. And the reason why I believe he left the Hawks was because of Dwight Howard going there.
Yep.
And he didn't want to play with Howard,
Yeah, that
which
and,
I can understand.
yeah, that and the fact that the Hawks. I watched some of their games. Nobody really goes to their games.
Yeah, no.
It's a very empty crowd. So I think seeing when he played Boston in the playoffs, seeing how filled that crowd was, I think he enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, that probably also played in the
Yeah.
factor, going to a bigger market team. Honestly, I don't think the Pacers are going to be the number 2 seed. I think they'll be either a 4 or 5. I think number 2 is going to go again to Toronto. They're still a very solid team.
Right.
DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, great 1-2 punch for them there. I know they just lost Bismack Biyombo, but he didn't really show up until the playoffs.
That's very
They
true.
have Jonas Valanciunas down low, and Biyombo didn't play a factor until Valanciunas was out.
And Sullinger's on the team now.
Yeah,
Jared
so,
Sullinger.
and they got Jared Sullinger.
Yeah.
So,
So-
they've improved.
The East is going to be much more interesting than the West this year, which is a surprise for once, considering the West has always been the dominant conference. And I don't think really there's going to be another team that can defeat the Warriors. Maybe the Clippers, but they might not even get past the second round.
The Clippers, I don't think so. I think the one team that will stand up to the Warriors are the Spurs, most likely.
Right.
Because the Spurs are always consistent.
But you don't have Tim Duncan there.
I know they lost Tim Duncan, and I know they brought in Pau Gasol. I'm not the biggest Pau Gasol fan, but
Not especially now,
again,
to me.
they do have LaMarcus Aldridge, and you never know what's going to happen with the Spurs. They're always consistent. Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in the league, if
think
not the best, in my opinion.
he's definitely top 2. Phil Jackson might be 1, but I would consider Popovich over Jackson.
Oh, yeah,
But
so would I.
The one team that everyone's just completely throwing under, like just completely disregarding, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook is still on the team.
Mhm.
Now, granted, he does make mistakes, but this guy's a walking triple-double with Victor Oladipo, with Steven Adams, who we just saw in the playoffs is a very solid center, and Canner's going to come off the bench. Now, they don't have Ibaka, but they also don't need him to shoot jumpers anymore, so they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Now, they got rid of him because they thought KD was going to stay, like pretty much everyone else thought. But I still think Oklahoma City can compete, and I think Russell Westbrook is dying to play Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah, I think he is too. But I just think depth-wise and starting 5-wise, I think the Warriors are obviously the better team still.
Right.
And I don't trust OKC that much because Westbrook makes a lot of boneheaded plays,
A lot.
and he's too much of a ball hog. That's why you see all these triple-doubles from him.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to play with a team usually.
Now, do you expect in the finals for it to be Golden State versus Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
what
no,
everyone
that's-
expects. I don't think there's a team in either conference that can defeat the top team. I really don't. I think it's just going to be interesting to see who falls from 2 to 8 in the
Yeah, no,
seedings.
the NBA needs to do something to get rid of these two teams that keep making it. It reminds me of the Lakers Celtics
Yep.
back in the day, and
Great rivalry.
great rivalry, but it's just not fun to watch because you know who's going to be in the finals, and it's just like, oh, who's going to win it this year
Yep.
between
Wasn't-
these two teams?
Wasn't until the bad boy Pistons until they threw them both off.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to another PSA break. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about the legend, the truth, KG, Tim Duncan, and Kobe Bryant. Stay tuned.
Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can.
know, I could really use a coffee. We should drive over Northern Lights.
Why don't we just rent a bike?
All you need to rent a bike is a pen and your driver's license. And then Bike Scranton provides the bike and a helmet.
Now we save the environment by saving gas.
And we get good exercise.
Bikes are available at these locations. Just go to www.bikescranton.com.
Welcome back to Royals Rumble. Yesterday actually, Paul Pierce announced that he will retire next year. Now this is the fourth guy in the past year to retire of the last era of basketball. Kobe Bryant retired at the end of the season. Tim Duncan retired at the end of the season. Kevin Garnett just retired a couple days ago, and now Paul Pierce is playing his last season until he retires. So out of all these guys that are about to retire or have retired already, who was the most fun to watch for you? Who was the best player out of these four?
Mr. Fundamental, Tim Duncan. I'm sorry, I like the Flash, but with the other guys, it's just, okay, we get it. You're good at shooting the ball. I like Tim Duncan, who gets down in the trenches and battles for his points. And he's just someone that I grew up watching. I loved watching the Spurs in their heyday with him, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker winning those championships. It was just great watching them. And he was never outspoken, always quiet. That's another reason why I liked watching him, because he's not trying to get all the attention, just going out there doing his job.
See, I actually agree with you that Duncan is the best player of the four, but Kobe's like right there. It's like this to
It's
me.
because it's Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also not the biggest fan of him after the whole rape allegations.
Right. No one should be a fan of rape allegations, but Kobe Bryant in playing with Shaq, it was unbelievable to watch them play. It was basically like Magic Johnson was on the team again. Not with the flashy passes,
Yeah.
but just bringing the Lakers fans to the stadium and watching the stadium go insane.
I'd say Shaq had another Penny Hardaway with him.
Mm-hmm. I would say that as well, but I think Kobe Bryant was just better
Well,
in my opinion.
Well, no,
obviously.
Kobe is obviously better than Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway also had a terrible injury, which ultimately ended his career.
Right.
And I think the Magic and Shaq being young and hot-headed, who admitted like he probably should have stayed,
Right.
and the Magic obviously wish they could have kept him because they had the talent, and that would have been something nice to see
That would have been nice.
if they actually did win a championship. Because remember, they did beat the Bulls
Yes, they did.
with Michael Jordan,
Nick Anderson, big steal.
Horace Grant.
Yep, Horace Grant. That was a very good team. But I don't want to talk about these two too much because I want to talk about Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. As a Boston Celtics fan myself, it hurts to see these two guys go. Paul Pierce is the first guy I really watched play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy I grew up on. I picked my teams because they were green. So Paul Pierce is the first guy I watched. I couldn't watch Larry Bird play, obviously.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a thought at that point. But Paul Pierce in 2008, when he got KG and Ray Allen, to me that was one of the most special moments of my life, watching them go to the NBA championship and beat the Lakers in 6, especially the Lakers and Kobe Bryant, which I wasn't a fan of Kobe Bryant at that time. But
Same here. I honestly despise the Lakers, so I was rooting for the Celtics in that case, and it was nice to see. Paul Pierce definitely deserved the ring. He's a great player. I'm just not the biggest fan of his. In my opinion, he's a little too cocky.
That's what makes him great, though. That's what makes him the truth. That's why
Not all the
Shaq called
time.
him the truth. That's the best nickname anyone could have ever given him. And Paul Pierce was just a warrior, and his clutch shots were amazing. I mean, he hit a lot.
No,
of them.
he did.
It's
Trust
my-
me, I've seen it happen so many times against the Knicks.
Yep. I was going to say the one year against the Knicks, he hit one right in Amari Stoudemire's face.
Yep.
He had another one in.
No,
when
he was
with the
definitely
Wizards.
clutch.
Yeah, clutch, man. I loved him. And Kim Garnett, he had so much emotion, so much love for the game.
One of the best smack talkers out there.
Absolutely. Watching him smack talk Dwight Howard when he was a net. I mean, that was the most recent one I can remember of. That was
I remember
great.
a video circulating when he was on the bench. I don't know. I don't know if he's with Minnesota
He
at
was.
this point.
I think I know exactly what you're
Like
talking about.
he was hurt, wasn't playing,
Right.
and he was trash talking.
That was
from
against the
sidelines.
Pelicans. That was against
Yeah.
the Pelicans. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a very Kevin Garnett was hysterical. Great guy.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes the Royals Rumble for today. I'm Brandon Verasco. This is Daniel Valentino. Catch you in the next episode. Have a good day.